Hi, everybody. Welcome to, if I've got the right one, number 26 of the 31. Not far to go now. I'm going to miss this when we stop on the 31st, but it's been quite lovely joining with you all each day. Send me a message if you're here, if you're watching. Today we're going to do a string of pearls. This is a hanging, well, a succulent that's used a lot in sort of hanging pots and baskets and things like that. So it's a draped succulent. So we're going to have a couple of lines coming down like this, different lengths. We're not going to see much of a pot because it's covered the pot. So we just need some guidelines, and then on those guides, so it's called a string of pearls. So basically all the leaves are these like little circles coming down the plant like this. So it's up to you just to decide how many of those, how big they are, how they sit on the stems you want to do. But you can see why it's called a string of pearls. It may have a different name. It certainly have a Latin name, but I know it as a string of pearls. And you may have seen something similar, which, where the leaves are like little heart shaped, and you see them around sort of Valentine's Day. They tend to sell them in the sort of supermarkets, but they're really beautiful plants. They're quite hard to keep, unfortunately. I've had a couple and they've died. They don't like the cold at all, and they need quite a bit of care to keep them looking good. So there we go. There's our string of pearls. Succulent. Let's have a couple coming down a bit further, I think. Like that. Okay, so we may end up drawing some sort of pot in here, but it just depends really where we put our paint. I mean, if you want to put it in now, you can sort of just draw a loose line through there like that, and just decide what sort of pot you want, whether you want it to be square or circular like that. A lot of them would be made of like in a basketry straw type thing. Okay, so the leaves are very acid green colour. So what I've got is my lemon yellow here, and I'm putting it into one of my little mixing, you can see that, into one of my mixing sections. So quite a lot of the lemon yellow. This is the acid yellow that you need, not the cadmium yellow. If you mix some cadmium yellow, you'll see what I mean when I talk about acid. And I'm trying to see where my ultramarine is. Not sure whether that's ultramarine. It's a bit dark in here today. I think that's it. There we go. It's just a bit dirty. So I'm mixing it with ultramarine. I'm just putting a little dot in like this. Just going to mix that up. Can you see? It looks a bit dark in here. The light is not great, but it's an acid green. And if I put it onto my, again, if you want to, because we're using quite light colours, just lightly rub it out. I know you've drawn all those dots and it's probably a bit frustrating, but it does help if you rub it out. And then you can just literally just start with your dots and do them randomly, because you carry different amounts of paint on your brush as you move around the painting. So it's better to sort of move around rather than focusing on one area, because you'll find that it will make more sense that you've got some dark, some light in different areas rather than all in one area. So I often recommend this to people when we're doing full-scale paintings. Make sure you work over the entire surface. Don't finish one bit and then go back and finish another bit, because by the time you've done that, colour mixes will be different. The shade in your room, the light in your room might have changed, or if you're working outside, the light changes over the day. So make sure you work on the entire painting all at once, especially when you're using the same colour. So you'll have some heavy bits where the paintbrush is full, so like now, that's what it looks like. It's quite heavy, but as the paint drains off your brush, you can see it just gets progressive. Sorry, I'm going to fill it up again. Heavy, and then as it drains off, I'll work down this side. You can see it just gets thinner, and as it thins down, it becomes more transparent. So just be aware of that when you're painting, that your brush is flooded, they call it flooded, with paint when you first pick it up, so it's going to be darker. So can you see there's a nice rhythm there over the whole plant of different depths of tone on your colour. Okay, so leave that to dry. Now some of those might take a while to dry because they're quite thick. So while you're at it, while you're waiting, have I missed any? Oh no, I've missed one. Let me just get that one. And you can add more in if you want. It's quite a lovely little plant to paint actually. Okay, so pick up a brown or some kind of cord colour, and you don't go anywhere near your leaves, just work from the top down those little hanging sections like this. You want it to be thin, it's supposed to be cord or rope or something like that. And then if we what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up, so I'm going to go back into this acid yellow colour here. So this is called lemon yellow. If you haven't got it and you've got only cadmium yellow, then just use that. But I'm just going to put, I know you probably won't be able to see this, but pick up some of the paint and just pop in some acid yellow on top of some of these leaves here. And all that'll do is it'll catch the light. How are we doing? 8 minutes. And as it dries, you'll see that it just adds a little bit of a sort of glint to, if that's the right word, it highlights a glint to some of those leaves. You don't have to do them all, but some of them. It makes it look really nice. And in the opposite way, you can take up a darker green, one that's ready mixed in your palette, maybe. Oops, my palette's stuck. And put some of those in the leaves as well. So while they're still wet, you can just sort of, did you see how that works? Just sort of gives it a little bit of extra 3D effect just in some of those leaves there, like that, see? And then really that's more or less finished, apart from the stem. I'm just going to add a little bit of dark green to the acid yellow, just make it a little darker, and I'm just going to fill in the stems. And don't worry if the colour runs, that's okay this time. This is why we need thin brushes. Go in and behind some of these projections. I've absolutely lost where this one goes, but there we go. How are we doing? Oh, 10, 10. Sorry. Just let's run over a little bit. I want to finish this for you. Welcome all my newbies who have joined in. I know that I've been sharing it on various sites and some of you have come late to this but have been catching up because they're all on YouTube. There we go. Now just to finish, take a paler colour of brown or something like that and you can just pop in some suggestion of a pot. Just do it with lines and it'll make it feel like it's you ideally leave it to dry. Just put in a few lines here and there like that and it'll make it feel like it's sitting on a sort of a woven pot like that. Okay, there we go. And you know you can work onto that pot if you want to. Add some yellow, maybe. Just keep adding those lines. Okay, that's all for today. See you tomorrow. Check out my website and my YouTube channel and like and subscribe. See you all again. Bye for now.